Hi Capricorn Rising, my name is Jackie from Get Life 333 Tarot, and I'm going to be doing a reading today that's meant to be a general snapshot of the overall situation in your past life compared to the overall situation in this life. And when I say situation, I mean mindset and tendencies. Okay, now this goes according to your rising sun. So you have to be a Capricorn rising. This is not for Capricorn sun, unless you're a Cap sun and you also have a Cap rising. But if you're not sure what your rising sign is, just Google free charts, guys. It takes literally not even 5 minutes. It's so simple. There are so many free ones there on Google. So you just need to know, you know, obviously besides knowing your birthday, you do need to know the time and the location of where you were born, because both of those things affect what your rising sign is going to be. But if you really have no idea, just put in 12 a.m. You'll still be able to get a lot of information from this reading. You know, when we're talking about past life readings, it really does require so much to talk about, right? And requires a full birth chart analysis, but we're not going to do that here. You can get a lot of information by just really understanding the sign that precedes your ascendant or your rising sign. So, because that's the energy that inflected your past life, okay? So that's what we're going to be looking at today for you guys. So as Capricorn ascendants, you know, you're coming from, you know, this Sag life, you know. So now with Cap rising this time, you're ready to set some boundaries for your life and stop that freewheeling fun ride Sagittarius lifestyle. But let's talk about how you were in your past life, right? So you were typically on the go with the love of freedom, and, you know, you hated anything that was routine, generally pretty easygoing. Your friends were from all walks of life. You loved to laugh, you loved to tease, and you got along pretty much with anyone, regardless of where they were, you know, socially, you know, on the social ladder. You often had blind faith in people, and frequently in the world. You know, you were very optimistic, excuse me, curious, you love to learn, very idealistic, you know, in feeling like most people noticed you, you know, feeling very idealistic in that most people appreciated, you know, what you valued. And although you were pretty easygoing, you know, Sag is a fire sign, right? So, you know, this would give, this would have given you a pretty quick temper, you know. But luckily, you know, as quick as something would come in that would bother you, you would forget about it, and you wouldn't be even able to remember why you were angry, you know, in the first place, right? Which is very Sagittarius. You know, you had a very strong need for escape in general, you know, that typically came off as being pretty irresponsible, right? You were direct and very forgiving and honest in your approach to life, but at the same time, you know, that life lesson to work through was fear of commitment and restriction, right? You ran away from anything that restricted you for most of your life in your past life. You know, you were like that quintessential runner, right? But now, right now in this life, as a Cap rising, now it's time for serious consideration about like letting go of karma that accrued in this past life from those Sagittarian ways. Because to be honest, guys, you know, Sagittarius are known as the bachelor or bachelorette of the zodiac, you know, and they don't mean to be, you know, there's no malice in what they do. They just have such a hard time settling down and sticking to one thing. And, you know, for those who are involved with these people, there's a lot of pain that comes from that. And if you're irresponsible in any way in how that's handled, you can easily create a bad karmic cocktail, you know, that you have to then, you know, bring with you. So, you know, now is the time of letting go of that accrued in that past life. So, you know, you were a person that shrugged off responsibility in order to live as you wanted, and you very well could have accrued that karma, you know, from others who felt ignored or abandoned or hurt in some way, you know, or dreams that, you know, that you had didn't come true because you couldn't structure your life enough to realize them, you know, or maybe you had everything and learned the value of, you know, you just never really learned the value of work and hardship, because you never stuck around for long enough. So now in this life, now is the time that these things will come back for you for resolution and balance, right? So as far as, you know, who you are now, there's a seriousness about Capricorn rising people that's pretty undeniable. You know, even when you're joking around, it's very, it's deadpan, right? And in fact, a lot of really funny people have Capricorn ascendants. Yeah, they're very good with timing, right? Cap ascendants are very good at timing. So you guys, see, you know how to like not giggle before the joke is over, which is awesome. In full disclosure, I did mention this in another video. Ray Romano, the comedian from Everybody Loves Raymond, is my brother-in-law, and he has a lot of Caps. So he's a Cap Sag cusp sun, but he's a Cap rising as well. And this is just so him, right? That deadpan. But you know, he's also, obviously he's also very successful. He's very into family. He takes family very seriously, taking care of his own very seriously. You know, these are things that even he's just known out in the world for, you know, it's the whole family element, you know, because you guys really are such competent people. You pretty much ooze it. You know, you're generally very image conscious, right? So the clothes you wear and the manner you conduct yourself in is, you know, it matters to you, the impression that you leave on people. You want to appear successful, and you generally are. You know, you generally are, because you guys are very incredible workers, you know. You know, you guys are very big on family, right? I was mentioning Raymond, very big on family. And, you know, you're always worried about security, you know, not only for yourself, but those around your immediate space. So basically like your tribe, right? Your tribe of people. You know, you're very hardworking, very dependable. And, you know, what others might not see, you know, under that kind of like maybe cool exterior is this, because you kind of come off as being really suave and together, but you have this inner struggle, always wondering if you're doing enough and if you're worthy and do I deserve enough. And, you know, not to overshare about Raymond, but that's so him. You know, you could even get it. He's even so honest in his interviews where he's always worried like what people think, and, you know, but, you know, you guys are always, you know, looking at how can I make things better? You know, you worry a lot about the future. And even though it's, you know, success seems to come easy to you guys, it hasn't, you know. You just make it look like that because you're very patient and hardworking. You're very driven personalities. Yeah. And one thing, though, in this life is you're practicing some form of self-denial, right? Some sort of self-denial. Like, you know how to do away with the frivolous because you've come from this life of excessive indulgence, right, as a Sagittarius. So, you know, you'll spend money on clothes that you really want, you know, if it's with the right labels, you really take care and when you purchase things, and other status symbols, you know, and not in any way to be like bougie or in anyone's face, but you truly appreciate quality. Yeah, and even though you rarely show it, you know, you have this quiet air of success about you. That's typically the result of a very conscious effort, you know. But you guys are very often, ultimately, you know, those of you Cap risings who evolve are often just these incredible success stories, you know, where, you know, your childhood may have been different, but you slowly turn your life around. And again, you know, going back to my brother-in-law, you know, those of you who are familiar with the show, Frank the Father, very challenging, difficult personality, you know. And if you know anything about the show, you know that a lot of the comedy on there is written based on his, you know, his real upbringing, his real life. So having a father like that and a mother like that, although my mother-in-law's a lot nicer than Marie, like 100%. But she did teach piano. But you know, his dad was very, very domineering, very difficult, very challenging early years. And he basically made lemonade out of lemons, right? And this is something that Capricorn risings do, you know. Yeah, a lot of you guys may have had some struggles, you know, when you were kids. You know, you could have had a lot of conflict in the household, or just lived in circumstances that were maybe a little unlike what other people lived. And it gave you this fortitude to move forward and, you know, and change your life, which is really, which is great, right? Which is great. You guys are very hard workers, and especially coming out of this life where you were just, you know, kind of all over the map. I mean, you have to love the Sagittarian spirit, right? Listen, if there's nothing else, there's so much fun, right? For sure. All right, so let's pull a couple of oracles. And let's see. And these oracles are going to dictate lessons that, make sure we get these in, that you guys are learning this time around, okay, compared to your Sagittarian life. So let's say we have happy. Should I hold these up for you? Let's see. Okay, if you can see. Happy. And then we have breathe. A little retarded with this camera here. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at them. Okay, so happy. Let's look at that. Yeah, you know, this card really speaks to just feeling content and fulfilled, and feeling that all is well in your world, right? That your desires are effortlessly filled, you know. And what I mean by effortlessly, this time around, you understand that it's basic hard work. Basically going from A to B to C, is actually going to bring you so much joy. And you're free from the shackles of longing. And you're able to experience the liberation that comes from actually just being happy moment to moment, because you are choosing happiness over just yearning for it. Because that's the thing with the Sagittarius life. It's they come off as very happy and wonderful, but their soul is always searching for this happiness. You know, they're always in search of. But now, in this life, now's the time for feeling joy for the sake of feeling joy and experiencing contentment. And, you know, and none of this is because of anything outside of yourself. Your happiness is a result of being at one with God's plan for your life, Spirit's plan. You know? Like you're learning in this life that all is well if you make it well. All right? And you just want to splash around in it, right? And as far as relationships go, when you went from the Sag life of being fickle, you know, of being really, really fickle, you know, now you're just about feeling really good about who you're with, right? And you know that your heart is wide open, and, you know, to be a friend and to love and to care about another without wanting anything in return, that's happy, right, for you, right? Like, right, they say that the grass is greener right where you're at, and you're very grateful, right? Yeah, you're just all about just being happy here, right? This is a time to take pride in your accomplishments, and you're doing good work in this life, Capricorn. You're providing so much for so many people, and you're well compensated for it, right? And the world has gratitude for you, and you're happy with the results of your efforts and your creativity, right? And you're going to get throughout your life, as you evolve and you reflect, you're going to be proud of your accomplishments, right? Your soul has always known that you could accomplish anything if you brought joy to it, and if you were mindful of bringing joy to others through your work, right? The only thing that you guys need to pay attention to with this, though, is if you have any sense of an unevolved sense of yourself, right, from this past life, and you come into this Capricorn life, you probably, a part of you, at some point in life, you have felt this confliction between being very serious, your serious Capricorn self, and any sort of residual Sagittarius wanting to just run out and take life, you know, by the balls, for lack of a better term, right? So you want to be able to lighten up, because this is a time to be ridiculous and silly, right? So this is just something that this card is indicating that you might want to heed, you know? You want to try, through your seriousness, just try seeing life as a little bit of like a clown, just not too serious. Don't forget to have fun is basically the point here, you know? And for Capricorn risings, it's really more about, like, you know, loosen your belt and just relax a little bit, and just don't take yourself so seriously all the time, right? Because that's where your funny could come out, you know, and that's where miracles are born. So, you know, let that happen in this lifetime. Yeah. And then we have breathe, which is great, because this is, you know, what are you learning in this life? You're learning patience and waiting, right? And how to trust. Right? Patience in patience in all things is called for in this life. Coming out of that Sagittarius life, now you have to be patient, right? You don't need to rush. You just do what you need to do. Stop and smell the roses. Don't be in too much of a hurry, not even in relationships, okay? Because the Sagittarius relationship is one where it's like you have this connection and you hit the ground running, and it's, you know, intense and it's fast. In this life, you are way more patient and you wait for things to unfold. The evolved Capricorn rising is practicing this. There's that understanding, right? Release constriction and anxiety. There's no need for that tension of, I have to have it right now, right? Your heart knows what the ego often resists learning. Right? And you know, and you're learning that patience pays off in very deep, meaningful ways, you know? You're going to be working long and hard in this life, but not in like this laborious, like, kind of way. Because your work is going to bring growth, so you're going to have satisfaction in that, you know? Yeah. Just make sure you don't slow down too much, right? Because you guys are here to work. You guys are the workers of the sign. So, you know, if you feel yourself sort of getting lazy at some point or laying back a little too much, just, you know, get on top of that, right? Don't forget that every breath you take every day and every step you take towards something every day is nothing less than precious, and nothing less than bringing you to a more evolved version of yourself, you know? Yeah, good stuff. All right, Capricorn risings, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you spending time, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.